Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3:02 p.m. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late today. 3:02 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. It's time for another live stream. And today is Monday, February 1st, the first day of February. And it's a Monday, so it's a Monday mukbang. Today, I've got, these are so hot, some Shin noodles for today that I thought I'd start out with. I was going to do some other different ramen noodles. I had ordered one that was like organic. It's like a super nice one, a different kind of ramen noodle, just to give that a shot. And Amazon, I don't know if they've lost it or what, but they were like, hey, you should just ask for a refund at this point, because they were like, we don't know where it is. So today we're going to go with the Shin, which is my favorite noodle today. So we're going to eat that. It'll be interesting. I've never eaten noodles on camera before. I mean, I've eaten spaghetti before. You guys saw me eat spaghetti, but I haven't had noodles like this that are going to be a lot hotter. I can't even hold the bowl right now. It's so hot. So I'm going to let that cool for a little bit. Take a second to say hi to everyone that's listening on the podcast, audio only version. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you're having a good run today. And for everyone watching this on YouTube after the fact, hopefully you're having a good day too. There's a lot of people that are affected by snow right now or about to be affected by snow. Perfect time to be having some noodles like Shin. All right, let's see who's here. First, we got Philip Bourne coming in with the new half marathon PB. Awesome. Let's get the bell out for that one. Let's see. That was loud. All right, but good job, Philip. And let's see. Old one beaten by 7 minutes and 47 seconds. Down to 1:34.58. Getting speedy, Philip. Awesome. On the trail. In the New Balance, more trail version 1. Awesome. The boost from the Nolly shirt made up for missing the carbon plate. What man? That's fantastic, Philip. Great job out there today. Definitely some good work. A 1:34.58 on the trail. That's speedy. Great work. And we got some haters in here saying that they're not that big a fan of the Shin, which is okay. Not everyone has to love it. This is my favorite. It is not a vegetarian product, that's for sure, though. I think there's some like beef kind of, there's like beef bone extract, beef something else in there. And then there's shellfish related or products derived from shellfish in it. Plus, I usually add egg to mine, so it's not a vegetarian product. And it's not everyone's favorite. That's okay. I think not liking Shin is a little bit of a unpopular opinion, if I've read that chat comment correctly. I think I did. I think that's an unpopular opinion to not love Shin. But here's an unpopular opinion that I have. There's Shin and then there's Shin black, which is supposed to be the fancier version. I don't like the black. I just like the regular version that comes in like fire engine red. So it's okay. We all have different tastes. Ben Browning says, good morning. And did you see the New Balance reviews for the Rebel 2? Reviews from Believe in the Run and Road Trail Run. I saw that they reviewed it. I hadn't seen the shoe yet until they had shown those pictures that I saw like on Instagram and maybe on Twitter. I'm not sure where I saw the photos that they had posted. I'm probably going to review that one. I did enjoy the Rebel version 1 quite a bit. I'm probably going to review version 2, so I probably won't look at those reviews. I'm interested to see that shoe and look at it in a little bit more detail. It looks like a banana to me. Just the way that it's like has like striations on it. It's yellow. It looks yellow to me. It looks like a banana. But I remember hearing some buzz early on from people as well saying like the version 2 looks amazing and it's going to be really good. So I'm not surprised that they like it. So we'll see. But I'll get to it eventually, but we'll see where we get on that. Let's see. That says, Ha Song-hyun says, you got a nice noodle. I've seen advertisement for that noodle. Today might be a good taste. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good taste indeed. I think it's going to be a good day to have some noodle. It's not that cold out today. It's actually pretty mild temperature-wise. The sun's shining. Got cloudless sky here in Chicago, but conditions out there were a little bit rough. For the most part, the trucks are out there along the lakefront path plowing and salting. For the first half of my run, I was ahead of the trucks. So I was still running in like a day's worth of snowdrift. Wasn't too bad, but there's a stretch along the lakefront path here in Chicago where like the trucks just have abandoned it. They're not doing anything to try and clear that area. Last year, they lost a truck to the lake because that part gets really slippery and like a snow truck, it was like a pickup truck with like the salt spreader on the back and a plow on the, I think I had a plow on the front. I had a salt spreader on the back. It like started sliding and it slid into the, like, people had to like jump out of the truck as it slowly started getting sucked into the water. But now that stretch, it's about maybe a little bit more than a mile long stretch. They just leave it. And so like parts of it are okay, but parts of it, like I took a spill today for sure. Fortunately, there's a lot of powder. So like I just felt like I was landing into a giant mat. So it was nice. It was a surprise. I didn't hurt myself, but it was definitely, I got up and I was like, there's so much more left, where the snow was just like up to my calves, sometimes up to my knee, depending on what I was stepping in, how soft it was. So it was interesting out there today. Definitely looking forward to having some noodles in a minute. All right. says, I love it. Nice. And is this here? It says, hi, Kabuzi. And it went for a run with Pip around the golf course today, it looked like. It looked like a nice run. Chris, yeah, says, hi, everyone. It's supposed to get down to 45 degrees in Miami going into hibernation mode. I mean, for Miami, 45 degrees has got to be cold. But, you know, like something that I'm very familiar with is the idea that, you know, in Florida, like the orange groves might freeze, like the orange crop could be damaged by frost. And also it could affect shuttle launches, kind of like with the Challenger. So like, you know, it's not that surprising, I guess, when I think about Florida and getting some cold temps in the winter. But then on the other hand, I'm like, Miami, though, does Miami ever get 45? I mean, that's got to be, like, people got to be freaking out, right, Chris? That's what I would think. I don't know. Jana's here. She says, hi, everyone. Jay Lee says, love Shin Ramyun. Sometimes a little spicy to me. I mean, I'm fine with it. It does have spice to it. And I enjoy it. I think if it were any spicier, I don't know that I would like it. As I'm getting old, usually when people get older, like they like more and more spicy things. But for me, as I'm getting older, I like spicy things less because it prevents me from enjoying things as much. I don't know. But I think Shin Ramyun is like as spicy as I enjoy things. KCA says, hey, everyone, had an incredible run in the snow between the music and the landscape. It was incredible. Had to share. Awesome, Casey. Today, I didn't have my music with me. So I ran a long run today. It was not a terribly long run, but 2 hours out there at easy pace. So it was about a half marathon. And I didn't have anything with me. And I thought it would be a real drag. I thought it would bother me, but it didn't bother me at all. So, you know, every once in a while I won't have music and I'll enjoy it. But I definitely prefer having some music, especially when the landscape looks amazing. All right. Carla says, hey, everyone, or hi, everyone. Awesome. And Chris says, on a side note, I think we now know Kafuzi's secret shin splints recovery prevention weapon. Oh, that's funny. Jaylee says, my running question is, what shoes do you usually wear for half marathons and over 15 miles? I have a Zoomfly Flyknit, and I want to buy another pair of shoes soon. It depends on, like, for the shoes that I might pick for racing a half marathon is different than a shoe that I'm going to have for just like a long, easy run. And is going to be maybe a different shoe, a third type of shoe that I might pick for a long run that's going to have a little bit of some work in it, some faster speeds. If it's a half marathon race, I'll go with, you know, the shoe that people might race a marathon in. That's what I'd race a half marathon in. The half marathon gives you, because it's a shorter distance, you know, it gives you a little bit more flexibility into what shoes you can wear. So shoes that I think might not have enough cushion for me, that might not be soft enough for me to run a marathon in, I can usually make it the half marathon distance. So they might have a little bit more of an exciting carbon fiber plate. They might be lighter. I can usually wear those. So shoes like the Carbon Rocket, that shoe, I don't think they made a Rocket 2, but the Carbon Rocket, that shoe was fun. Shoes like the Meta Racer, those are shoes that I can wear for the half marathon distance that I can't wear for a marathon. So that might be something I pick. But my favorite half marathon shoe probably right now is going to be the Adios Pro. Second favorite would probably be like RC Elite, Endorphin Pro. I might be able to, you know, that's a shoe that can go the marathon distance, but I think I'd probably like that more for a half marathon, something where I'm pushing a little bit harder on that one. So those are some that I would pick. If I'm just going for an easy run over 15 miles, then I'm looking for a shoe that's going to be nice and comfortable. It's going to be very forgiving as I'm getting tired. So right now I've been really enjoying the New Balance 880. That's been a fun one for me. And shoes like a Clifton, which has lots of cushion, would be nice. The Triumph 18, which was also another one that I really enjoyed. So those are some options for you. The Zoomfly Flyknit, I think, would be great for a half marathon. I do like the Zoomfly Flyknit quite a bit. But that shoe's been out for a little while now, so your Zoomfly Flyknit, depending on when you got it, might need some replacing. So that's something that you can look at. If you like that one a lot, I mean, I think that the natural things that you would be looking at are the Zoomfly 3 or the Tempo Next Percent. I haven't run it in Tempo Next Percent, but I think that generally people that really enjoyed the Zoomfly Flyknit are probably going to like the Tempo Next Percent. And if you ran into Vaporfly Next Percent, then you probably will like the Zoomfly 3. If you like the Zoomfly Flyknit, you probably will also like the Zoomfly 3. But that shoe, it got heavy. So that's like the main drawback for that one for me. All right. Oh, Dr. Josh is in here, says, hey y'all, Kafuzi fam. I'll say, what up fam? Back right at you. Dr. Josh, good to see you. Rick Sutter says, what's up everybody? Good to see you too. All right, we've got Michael Sessler coming in with a massive super chat today. Let me scroll down and find that one. There it is. Michael Sessler coming in with a super chat. Thank you so much, Michael. Says, your review saved me more than this. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You've been here since, I think, the beginning of these live streams and even before that, too. So I appreciate All right, I think we're back. Sorry about that. So the internet went down here, so I just switched over to piggyback off my phone. So that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, Lewis says we're not in Iowa anymore. We had really good internet there. My wife thought I was joking when I said like my in-laws in rural Iowa's internet was better than ours here, but it definitely was. And then, but what I remember though, what's amazing is that there was a time, I mean, this was before we had kids, but I remember my wife and I, we would go back to Iowa before my in-laws had speed internet or Wi-Fi in the house. And we would drive down to Dyersville, a couple miles down the road to go to a cafe, and we would sit there and we would work from there all day because that place had Wi-Fi. So we would have coffee and sandwiches and try to work when we were back in Iowa and working from there. And then like several years later, then my niece, she works there now. She's a barista. She makes the coffee. All right. Little side note there. All right. Yeah, but Michael Seltzer says you broke the live stream. You did. You sure did. But no, you didn't. It was just the internet that's going here. All right. All right. I'm getting super hungry, so I'm going to dive into this. The Shin Ramyun, and if you notice the spelling, people have had this before, there's a difference in spelling. Korean noodles, when they spell like ramyun, it's Ramyun versus the more common, the bottom of this bowl is super hot, so I might have to alternate my fingers. Ramyun is more of like it's Japanese spelling. And that's in Korean, myeon, with like a Y in there, is the word for noodle. So I'm assuming mien or men is the name for noodles in other Asian languages. So there's that. but just something to keep in mind. So that's why I say it different. I don't say it ramen. I usually say ramyun. But this is good. It's got these noodles here are a little bit thicker. If you're used to like Sapporo Ichiban or like Manchuran or Top Ramen, the noodles in the Shin Ramyun are a little bit thicker, so there's more bite to it, which I think makes them a lot more satisfying. And in terms of the flavor of the broth, it's just it just tastes like spicy to me. It's very, very savory. It doesn't have a very strong soy flavor or like a beef flavor. I guess there's a little bit of the seafood flavor that comes through, but for me, it just tastes like delicious spiciness. It's good. I really like it. But every time I eat ramen noodles or ramyun noodles around not Korean people, I always think about Mr. Baseball. Do you guys ever watch that movie? That's an old one. Tom Selleck was in it. He was an aging baseball player who couldn't get a major league contract anymore. No one would re-sign him. So he signed with a Japanese baseball team. And it's basically like, culture shock movie, like American and Japan. I just thought it was so funny. I love that movie. I need to watch it again. Ben Y wants to know, favorite ramen topping for me, shiitake, daikon, egg, and kimchi. Well, that sounds delicious. Usually for me, ramen noodles are like a little bit more of like a simple food. Like when people get super crazy about ramen, the idea for me of like going to a ramen restaurant is very strange. It'd be like going to like a really fancy like wing place, right? I mean, I think that exists now too. But like if people were like, dude, have you been to like Super Hot Wings? It's really great. Like the ambiance is beautiful. It's very authentic. Like the wings are delicious. And I'm like, they're like artfully made by an artisan. I'd be like, what? And that's very different from like the way that Japanese culture celebrates the ramen noodle. I mean, I don't think Korean people eat that way. At least I don't know anyone that does. So like, I like it pretty straightforward. I'll make it. I like it. And when it comes in a package that you open up and drop in a pot of boiling water. And I usually like to add egg, like crack a raw egg in it and just like stir it around so it breaks up a little bit. And you get these like little kind of curds, kind of like egg drop, kind of like curds. Yeah, I guess curds is the right word for that. If I have tofu, like firm tofu laying around, soft tofu will work too. But if I have tofu laying around, I'll like cube it and like dump that in as well and try to let it absorb some of the broth. Kimchi is also quite delicious with ramen noodles, but I think of it as a side rather than a topping. I've eaten at back when I would buy lunch during a workday. There was like a couple of like kind of like fast food Korean places or like kind of like places that wanted to be like a Korean version of Chipotle that I would go to downtown. And it would really frustrate me because it's like they would give you the bowl and like everything would just be like thrown on top, even the kimchi. And I was like, you messed it up. Don't put it on top. You eat it on the side. It was kind of weird to me. So like I guess it'd be kind of like, and I guess people do this too. But if you have like a burger and someone put fries in the burger rather than on the side, it just seemed weird. And especially when you put it in soup, like ramen noodle soup, then it sinks. And so then, I don't know, then I got to fish it out and then it rinses off the spiciness of the kimchi and then it just feels like you're eating cabbage. So like, I kind of like it on the side, but I mean, maybe it's just because I like it really, really basic. I don't know. All right, back to running. We got James Baker saying they just released a future pack versions of the endorphin range here in the UK. They look nice. Which one are the future packs? I don't think I've seen that before. I can't wait for the retro pack though. The one where they have the giant old Saucony logo, the ones with the three circles inside it. They're gonna look like the Saucony Jazz. Like I really want that one. My daughter got out of school early and she's like, I don't know what she's doing, but she's like crawling underneath my chair. I'm pretty sure she's gonna knock out a cable. So if we lose connection again, it won't be the internet. It'll be my daughter's fault probably. All right. Chris Dyke says about the Rebel 2. I need to avoid the Rebel 2 talk whenever possible. There's no more room in the closet, and that is a show easily purchased. I love the Rebels. Yeah, my shoe closet is getting really full. I've got a lot of shoes with like 50 miles on them. And so I'm like, I gotta like focus on one at a time and try to like get them out the door so that way I can make room for new ones. I know that's different than how most people run, but yeah, I gotta make some room. But you know, I haven't signed up for the Shamrock Shuffle yet, but I'm not that worried about signing up for it because it's going to be virtual. But today's week one, day one of Shamrock Shuffle prep, and I think there's going to be a lot of faster running in there. So a lot of those carbon plated shoes that have like 30 or 40 miles on it, they're going to get some attention. So it should be fun over the next couple of weeks. We'll see. Cal Runs Boulder says, had an enjoyable first run in the Carbon X2 today. Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, Chrissy T says, it's noodle weather for sure. I love this. What is this thing? This avatar? It's in a tuxedo, whatever it is. Derek Dixon says, any animal products in the ramen? Yes, there are many. Well, I mean, I also put egg in mine, but I think that there are. I remember there were 3 different ingredients list items of some sort of beef derivative, like beef bone broth or something like that. Beef something else and beef something else, a third thing. And then it does contain shellfish, I think shrimp as part of the broth as well. So there are animal products in it. So it's not a vegetarian food at all. Carlos says, I don't think I've ever tried cinnamon. I love it. It's my favorite. And if you can't, there's another one that you can typically find in like most grocery stores. These days, most grocery stores know what's up. And so if there is something in like the Asian aisle, cinnamon is usually one of them. If there isn't cinnamon, there's another one that's, I think, tastes a little bit more seafoody than this. And has more of like a bitter taste. That's called noguri. Neogor. Neoguri. That one's somewhat similar to this. It existed before cinnamon. I'd say that's probably the closest thing that's out there if you can't find it. But I'll say if there isn't that, my favorite ramen other than that is probably just Sapporo Ichiban. I used to eat those all the time growing up. I think that was the first ramen noodle that I learned how to make. And I probably ate the most of those over time. When I make that, I usually add egg. And then when it's done, I'll add in a slice of American cheese. Just like unwrap it, put it in there and stir it up and mix it. It's really good. It's like a cheesy beef soup. It's really nice. All right, Landon Gunderson says, I think I'm going to buy a Garmin Forerunner 35. I know it's old, but perfect for my budget, and I am a beginner runner. I'm open to any more suggestions, though. I mean, I don't know what the difference is exactly between the Forerunner 35 and the 45, but I think the 45 is newer, so that's an option. But because the 45 is newer, you might be able to save a little bit by going with the 35. I'm not sure what the price point is on the 35, though. I think it's going to be pretty cheap. So like when you're in that range, I don't think that there's I'm trying to think of what else there is to really compete with it. Like I don't like any of the cheaper polar options. And yeah, I think the Garmin 35, it's going to be pretty good. Because I'm trying to think of what does the Coros Pace go for? That's their entry level watch, but I think that's going to be more than you're going to pay for a Garmin 35. Dylan Nat wants to know, do your easy runs sometimes make you breathe harder than regular to moderate run? No. I mean, if you're doing that, then you're not running easy. Or if it's an easy day and you find yourself breathing really hard for some reason, even though you shouldn't be, that would be a good signal to me that maybe you're body is not properly absorbing all the workouts that you're giving it. It might be too much. And so that's kind of your body's signal of saying like, look, we're being overworked over here. So maybe you might need to focus on recovery more, spread out some of the workouts a little bit, see if you can dial some of them back. Maybe if there's like 8 reps of something, go with 6, that kind of thing. If your easy runs are really abnormal, like if suddenly your heart rate's spiking in a way that's not a device error, but like your heart rate is actually high, those are the things that I'd kind of look out for. Remy says, not loving the schedule changes. Glad I could stop in for a few minutes today. Miss you. Miss you too, Remy. Good to see you, though. Good to see you. Ben White says, do you know Will Young's YouTube channel? Great veggie ramen recipes on there. I'm not sure I know who that is. I'll have to look for that. All right. Let's scroll down, I think, after some of the... sorry. If anyone's new here, sorry about that. And then you have a question. If I haven't gotten to it yet, maybe try to repeat them down there. I missed a whole bunch of the chat. A lot of it from when my internet went down here. So I apologize for that. But welcome if you are new. I'd love to hear where you're watching from. If you want to share that with us, or if you just want to hang back and kind of like take it all in, that's totally cool too. And if you do have any running questions, if you haven't written one yet, but maybe you came here with one, feel free to put them in the chat. There's no structure for today. It's just a dude eating noodles and a whole bunch of us getting together and hanging out. So I'd love to answer any questions. Let's see. Kerry Smith says, in terms of the 35, go for the 45 or for a few more bucks for the 245, a better product. I do like the 245 because I feel like even if you're a beginner runner, the 245 has more that you can grow into, I think. So if you do ever want to get a foot pod, I just feel like there's more potential there with the 245. I feel like the 45 is like, it's a great beginner watch and that's it. The 245 I feel like is a great beginner watch and it's a great watch you can use when you're not a beginner. Like you're not going to really like, it'll take most people a really long time, and some people never ever need to graduate from the 245 until you like start doing some very specific things, like you can check your altitude from like a hill work kind of perspective, or you need mapping or anything else like that. And for most people, I think the 245 covers everything you need. Run Frankfurt says, Kofuzi, any thoughts on using the Apple Watch for running? I know if you use one. Any tips or good apps when using it for running, things to watch out for? I think the main thing to watch out for is battery life. Because, as it is, the Apple Watch only lasts kind of like a day. I think the newer ones last a little bit longer than that. But if you're going to be using it for your watch that you wear all day and all night, but then also use it for GPS tracking during your run, and then also use it for listening to music or a podcast or something else during your run, it starts to become a lot, especially if you're streaming stuff to it, you're using the cellular connection, all that stuff hits the battery. And so my concern is that it might die in the middle of an activity. For me, I felt like I had to be careful when I was using the Apple Watch in a marathon to not try and like stream or listen to music too much beforehand, because I wanted to make sure that the battery didn't die before I got to the finish line. So that's kind of like my thing to it. Now that's been a couple of years, and I know they've made some improvements to like in terms of how much battery there is in it and how well the OS can sip that battery life. But that's the main thing I watch out for. The other thing is that mine now is a couple of years old. I use the Apple Watch 4. And because of that battery life, degrades over time. When it's cold, just kind of like an old iPhone. Like if you try to use it in the cold, it just dies, or it'll like shut off for no reason. Well, because the battery is low. My Apple Watch does that sometimes. So it hasn't happened to me while we've been in Chicago, but frequently in Iowa. Like if a podcast ends at like the hour mark in a run and I got half an hour left, if I try to put on another podcast, it'll just like start it. But then like the activity of changing to something else makes it die. So that's just something to keep an eye out for. But the app that I would use is I run 26.2 or Work Outdoors. Those are the two best apps. All right, let's see. Oh, my mom's here from New Jersey. My mom said that they're supposed to be getting a lot of snow today, so hopefully you're doing okay, Mom. Jeffrey Larnard says, checking in from snowy Massachusetts. Have you ordered the New Balance 1080 version 11 to review? Would love to hear your thoughts. I have not ordered it yet, and thanks for coming in today from Massachusetts. I think the Northeast is getting a ton of snow. And not just because the storm that passed through Chicago was big. I think it passed through Chicago, and now it's the ocean air kind of gets to it. It's really going to amplify. But I haven't ordered the 1080 version 11 yet. I think it just came out yesterday or maybe 2 days ago. But I'm very excited for it. But on the other hand, I was mentioning earlier that my shoe closet is also very full. So like I got to get some shoes out the door first. I'd like to finish running in the Peg Trail 2. I'd like to finish running in the Fresh Row more. And then probably I'll probably, once I get those two shoes kind of done, which shouldn't take too much longer, then I might, because I do want to still have the 1080 when I have the 880 to work with, the 1080 to work with, and the Beacon 3. Because I think that'll be a good video to have those three. So soon, I think, probably within the next month, I'll get it. Mank Ed says coming in from Manchester. I wanted to say United, but because those two words just kind of go together for me. But from Manchester, awesome. Welcome, Ed. All right. Let's see. First, I had said, hey, is it okay to swim in the same day after having a grueling running session? 20 miles. When is the Ultra Boost 21 review coming? It's time. I would say if you're training for a triathlon, it's probably okay. But that's a lot. To swim, or the day after. I think the day after would be great. I thought you meant the same day, but the day after, I think that's totally fine. But it depends on what the swim is, kind of just like it would be for the run. Okay, swim would be great if you're just going to get out there in the pool for a little while, do some easy swimming. There's no such thing as easy swimming for me though, because I pretty much sink when I get in the water, so it's a lot of flailing around. So swimming is not a recovery day activity for me. It's not an aerobic activity. I'm always kind of feeling like I'm about to drown. But I'm assuming that you can swim like a normal human being. So I think that would be fine. I don't know that I would want to go and do a workout afterwards unless you're, again, training for a triathlon and that's something that your coach or your plan has specifically in mind to stack those two things really close to each other. But I think like that could work. It could work. Also, it depends on that 20 miler. If that 20 mile is really hard too, then like, I don't know how much your body would be able to absorb in those 2 consecutive days. And the Ultra Boost 21 review is coming. I think my Ultra Boosts are going to arrive today or tomorrow. So that's another thing. Maybe that's a good one to compare with the 1080. So maybe I need to get that 1080 sooner than later. Yeah, I think I need to do that. All right. Rick Vegas says, do you have an upcoming race? I think the next race is going to be the Shamrock Shuffle. Sorry, it got real sunny. So I got to go this way. I don't feel like that did much. Yeah, I'll be doing the Shamrock Shuffle, probably a virtual race in 8K. What I'd really like to be able to do is kind of go down in speed or distance, increase speed, work on some leg strength in that way for a little bit, and then kind of go from there. Then we'll gradually get more marathon specific towards the end of the year, but at least for the next couple of months, try to stay towards some faster stuff, work on some leg strength, and just kind of, yeah, we'll do that. So we'll see how it goes. Super Tramp says, just want to say thanks for helping me beat depression and addiction. Wow. Been sober for 2 years now, and I've been running for the last 16 months, almost 1,500 miles, 2 marathons, 12 half marathons. Thank you. Well, awesome, Super Tramp. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. We got to get a cowbell in for that one. That is amazing work. Amazing work. And congratulations for putting in all that hard work, man. It's paying off, it looks like. So really great. Awesome. And thanks for being here today. We're glad to have you here. All right. Let's get in a couple more Munsteer Arla says, have you ran an A6 GT 2009? And if so, are they a solid pair of shoes? From Ireland. Awesome. I think I ran the GT 2000 version 8. I didn't run in the GT 2000 version 9, but I don't think that is a model that they change very frequently. And it's a stability shoe, and it is. I mean, when you said a solid pair of shoes, it feels to me like a solid pair of shoes. It's very much a stability shoe in my mind. But at the same time, it didn't, like, stability shoes tend to bother me almost right away, and this one didn't. So I felt the stability features, but it wasn't so. I mean, it was definitely there. It felt a little bit stiffer of a shoe, but it wasn't so like difficult for me to get along with. So I don't know if that means it's a really great shoe or not a really great stability shoe, but I think that it's one of the heavier stability shoes, not heavier, but more stable stability shoes that ASICS makes. And I think if you run in it in previous years, then I would feel pretty confident that you could pick it up again in any other subsequent year. And if you've liked it before, you'll probably like it again. Okay. Jingle bells. Oh, there's a cowbell. My daughter wants us to use this instead for cowbell time. Yeah, Supertramp says, I weighed over 300 pounds and now I'm down to 225. That's a lot. That's crazy. That's a huge amount. Good work. Alex says, for casual running, do you think improving core strength would improve performance? I mean, that's kind of an interesting question for casual running, like wanting to know what improves performance. So I'll kind of like lay that out there. But I mean, I don't know. As someone who's not very good at doing core exercises, I'm not sure I'm a good person to answer that question because like I don't do core exercises. I'm not sure how much they would help me, and I would say I'm a little bit past casual running. So I'm not an excellent runner, but I'm not a casual runner either. So like I think the core strengthening would here we go. We're back. I do find that like there's times where I feel like mainly in my abs and sometimes in my lower back, I think a lot of that's glute related. I feel strained at the end of a longer run. And so I'm not sure it would translate necessarily in terms of speed. Like it would make me like doing 3, sessions of core work a week are going to translate to 15 seconds per mile faster on an easy run. I don't think it's going to work quite like that. Look how dark it got all of a sudden because a cloud went by. I don't think it works quite like that, but I think what it will help is it'll help you feel stronger and absorb your workouts on a longer term basis better. So the answer is yes, but also from a casual runner's perspective, a lot of the things that you do are going to result in a lot of improvements right away. So that's good news, I guess. Frank says you're supposed to, going back to the 20 miles and then swimming question. He says swim before the run. No, I think that's how it goes, but I don't know. Let's see. Frank, was that a Mrs. Kofuzi saying? No, I think that was my daughter. All right. Albert says, I find eating lots of ramen beneficial for my running. I find it actually to be really bad for my running. But the crazy ironic thing is when I'm in high training mode, like heavy training mode, my body tends to crave it. I think it's just my body's way of saying like, give me something salty. But my body tends to crave it. And then it's not very nutritionally dense. So while I am getting the salt that I want, I'm not like, it's kind of like replacing other foods that I probably would or should be taking in as well, in addition to eating a lot of salt. And so what I find is whenever I eat ramen frequently, I find myself generally getting in the thing that tips me off first is that my mood kind of decreases if I over time. In the instant, I feel great, but like over time, I just like I don't know, just like something's not quite right, and I'm like, oh, it's because I'm not fueling right. So that's kind of that has been my kind of take on it. But on the other hand, I'm like, it's a very quick way to get in 1,000 milligrams of salt, like 2 days worth of salt, like dietary allowance in like one meal in a bowl. So there's that too, I guess. Joshua Eastwood. Every time I see someone with the name Eastwood, I always think of Back to the Future 3 when they're like, well, hello, Mr. Eastwood. They say it like, I don't know what accent that is, but they say Eastwood. Funny. And I like that. He wants to know, what's my fastest mile, 5K, and 10K? Any tips for running faster? Fastest mile, I think, unofficial. I mean, I haven't run like an official mile in like forever. So all these are kind of like either pop-up races or time trials or something like that. I think I'm somewhere around the 541, 543. I'm in the mid 540s, something like that. I don't think I'm in that kind of shape right now, which is one of the reasons why I want to go through like a shorter racing distance training plan, because I want to like try to work on some of that stuff. Fastest 5K, like chip time, fastest 5K is like 19, again, in the 40s, 1943 or 1945, maybe 1948, somewhere in the 1940s. Fastest 10K, I haven't run a chip time 10K in a long time either, but I think I'm somewhere around like 42. So not super speedy, but, and even for, and the times really aren't even there for some of my longer, like my, kind of like the benchmarks for the distance running. So there's lots of work to do. Tips for running faster. I mean, given what I just told you, probably not the best person to give this advice, but generally, I would probably look at your overall mileage first and see if you're running enough mileage for these distance races. I mean, the mile, people aren't really thinking it as a distance race anymore, but I mean, even I think most people would consider the mile at least a medium or mid distance race. And then the 5K and 10K are distance races, at least as far as track and field is concerned. And so you're talking about a lot of aerobic strength. And so I would focus, without knowing anything about your current like training program or schedule, I would say, think about, is the mileage consistent with kind of generally where you want to be for your times? And are you staying consistent across seasons and across years? He says as he slurps more ramen noodles. So Lewis says he doesn't have ramen, but he will have some ceviche later. Ceviche is a great way to get a lot of salt, I feel like. I mean, probably because you eat it with a lot of like chips. But I think that there's a lot of like acidic good stuff, acid-wise, a lot of salt in there. I feel like it's a great like post-race or training food to have. But Albert says that the ramen noodles are loaded with carbs and sodium. Yes, they are. That's for sure. But I feel like some of the other stuff that's in here, like stuff that makes this like infinitely shelf stable and all that kind of stuff, I don't know how much that messes with me. I'm never really sure, but maybe it's more mental than anything. But I always kind of try to be disciplined with my ramen intake. I remember I spent a summer in Korea when I was younger. And there was like a Korean Sesame Street type of show that I was watching. And one of the like the car, like there was always songs, like we'll have song, you'll hear songs like Daniel Tiger type of songs, like if you get mad, count to 4, and then you won't be mad anymore. Like weird songs like that. There's one song from that, like I don't remember the words, but I remember the gist of it, and I remember the animation quite vividly. The gist of it was like, you can't be the guy that naps all day, eats ramen noodles, and then naps some more. It's really unhealthy for you. That was like the gist of the song. And they showed this like cartoon of a guy that would like sleep, wake up, eat ramen noodles, and then go back to bed. And like over the course of this like 2-minute song, he kept getting like fatter and grumpier and grumpier. So like, I don't know if that was like a big thing back. I mean, this would have been like maybe the 90s, I guess, early, like right around 1990 when I was in Korea, I think. But I don't know if that was the thing. But to this day, like eating ramen noodles makes me want to take a nap. But I'm always like, oh, but I shouldn't take a nap after you eat ramen noodles. It's stuck with me. All right. Brian James Pond says, have you ever been chased by a wild animal during one of your runs? Wild animal? No. Domesticated animals? Yes. I'm a dog magnet. Dogs find me. Went back in Iowa. Like, I knew where all the farm dogs were. And a lot of the routes, there's only so many routes if you're running on the roads out there that you can go. And they go by farms, and there's farm dogs. And they would just start following. So that's something. I'm trying to think if there's any other animals. I've seen a lot of deer, but they run away. They don't chase. Same thing with like pheasants, that kind of thing. So I don't think any wild. Oh, I have been chased by a wild animal. There's these red-winged blackbirds, small little blackbirds, and they're very territorial, and they are organized, and so they will like set up when you're running on a country road. They have them in Chicago too. People tell me about them in Chicago, but I don't see them around. They don't live along the lakefront. But these red-winged blackbirds, they will on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, they will perch along the power line, like every couple hundred feet. And if you run by one of the birds will swoop down and start bugging you, trying to get you to leave. And then once you get past it a certain amount, it goes back to its perch, and the next one comes down, and it bugs you for a little while. So yeah, that's the wild animal that has chased me before, for sure. Yeah. Sarah says the deer here in New Jersey are so used to humans now that the babies run with. Do they really? That's amazing. That's crazy. I feel like that would be like the time I once went on like a fishing trip with one of my buddies. It was for his bachelor party. I get super seasick. I got very seasick, but like there was a moment where I wasn't seasick, and we encountered a giant pod. Even the fishermen, like the guys that did the chartered tour, were like, "Look at all these dolphins today!" And they see them all the time, but they were like, "There's a lot here." It was like they were like, "This is multiple pods of dolphins getting together," and they all like swam and jumped out of the water alongside of the boat. I felt like if I ever saw a deer running with me, I would feel like that. And I would probably say I'm a vegetarian. Not most of the time. Supertramp says, I've been approached by the coyotes in Edmonton on an early morning run one time earlier in December. That would terrify me, especially if it was a cold weather month. I'd be like, oh man, maybe there's not enough food for them. Whoa, that's terrifying. There are sometimes coyotes that will reach the city here in Chicago, and every time it does, it'd be like, no, like I think the public doesn't care, but the news crews get like super tense about it, and so like it gets a lot of coverage. Like the news organizations, the local news organizations, all think it's a giant story, and most people are like, ha ha ha, coyote. It's like a big dog. But that's definitely happened here before. Whoa. And we'll end with this one today. Some of that spice is getting to me. Martha says, I spotted an adolescent mountain lion on an early morning run and slowly backed off and went a different way. It's probably not a threat, slightly bigger than a house cat, but didn't know if it was solo. That would be really terrifying. There was a video about like that recently about someone where like the mountain lion like lunged at, was like doing like a kind of like a go away kind of thing to the person. And the person had to back away from it too. But like, yeah. And I feel like if I saw one and it was small, I'd be like, oh, there's a mama cat around here somewhere. And that's the one I have to be scared of. And since I can't see it, that means I'd be like, that certainly means it sees me and is about to pounce, but it's just hiding somewhere and I can't see it. That would be really scary. Yeah, Martha says, yeah, that video of the runner in Utah went viral. It sure did. Sure did. Well, and Frank says, I see a coyote almost every time I run past 6:30 in the evening. Whoa. Wow. Oh, and said that other runner in Utah made a bad mistake and stopped to photograph the cute kittens. Oh, they thought they were bobcats. Well, that makes sense. And there, you guys have like wild animal stories. A 10-foot gator was removed from where I run. Too close. Yeah. That sounds, I mean, I mean, like mountain lions, terrifying. Coyotes, also terrifying. I think the gator is probably the most terrifying of those stories because gators eat people. Like, they're not just like territorial. They're not just, they're not just like, not angry, but like annoyed when people get too close to like their young. I feel like the alligators will like go after people sometimes. I don't know. Ooh. You guys, I'm glad that you're all here safe. I'm glad that you survived all these harrowing tales of encounters with nature. All right. I think that's a great place to end it for today. I had a lot of fun. I'm going to finish this ramen noodle once we get out of here because it's delicious and I'm hungry today. But I had a good time talking to you guys. Next week I'm ordering more stuff now. I got a couple of ideas. I think they're going to be fun. Hopefully they'll actually make it in time for next week's Monday Mukbang. Tomorrow, I'll have a video tomorrow morning. It's going to be one of the run meditation videos kind of thing, just like running to music. And then in the afternoon, we'll do Trivia Tuesday. Tomorrow's going to be Groundhog Day. So it's going to be Groundhog Day themed trivia, like the movie and also the day. So it'll be that for tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't seen the movie Groundhog Day, I highly recommend it. I think like for now, like right now, in a time where everyone's like, all I do is stay at home and I never go anywhere, I feel like watching Groundhog Day is a great movie to watch right now. So that'll be the theme for tomorrow, everybody. In the meantime, for all of you guys getting snow, be safe out there on your runs, or even when you're not in your runs. Hopefully you're staying safe and warm. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks.